Have you given any thought to where this ends?
It's been several months since John Wick was unceremoniously shot by Winston and left for dead. Hiding underground with the Bowery King, John recovers from his injuries and plots his revenge. After senior high table member, the Marquis Vincent de Gramont, decommissions the NYC Continental due to Winston's inability to kill John Wick, Winston offers John a way out. Challenge the Marquis to a duel. If John succeeds, he wins his freedom and any obligations to the high table. But getting to the duel destination on time proves to be no easy feat, as everyone, including John's old friend Kane, desires to take down the Baba Yaga for good. John Wick 4 is the coolest movie I have ever seen. I'm really tempted right there to just end my review, because any descriptions or insights I might offer is probably going to pale in comparison to the film itself. It's like trying to attack John Wick with a paring knife. I'm bound to come up short. So, to put it plainly, I'm just in awe of this movie. In awe that 4 films in, Chad Stahelski and company can keep topping themselves from what's come before. In awe at how breathtakingly beautiful this film is. In awe that the 4th iteration in the franchise once again manages to introduce new and interesting characters that we care about. In awe at the sound design, in awe at the editing, in awe at the emotional heft of this movie, in awe that in an era of tentpole releases that seem hell-bent on providing the most formulaic films possible, designed to appeal to the most people and garner the most money, something this unique actually exists. In awe. Now, obviously, audiences go to a John Wick film for action. They want to see the Baba Yaga winding his way through a myriad of opponents, breaking bones and dispensing headshots. Yet, as relentless as the action is, it's never formulaic and it's never boring. Whether it's Donnie Yen's Kane mowing down baddies with a sword, Wick drenched in water at a nightclub going to toe-to-toe with the despicable Killa Harkin, a delightful turn by Scott Adkins, or a Car-Fu, yes, you heard me right, Car-Fu scene in Paris that makes Frogger look like thumb wrestling. John Wick Chapter 4 delivers, and does so in a way you've never, ever seen before. It completely earns its 169-minute runtime, so if you're concerned about that, don't be. Oh, and that staircase scene you've heard so much about? Yeah, it's the real deal and then some. A truly scintillating moment this side of Joaquin Phoenix's Joker dancing his way down the stairs. This movie proves for the 6,999,000th time why there needs to be a stunt choreography category at the Oscars. Anyone who thinks stunts aren't fundamental to a film can fire that tired-ass take directly into the sun. Chad Stahelski's direction is flawless here. There is a tendency, I think, to poo-poo the action genre as if it is a lesser form of art. That's utter lunacy. The action in this film tells the story itself. It is the action film version of The Marriage of Figaro. This is an operatic quality about it that just draws you in. It's like one continuous aria you don't want to stop. With scenes set in New York City, Japan, Paris, Germany, and the Middle East, John Wick Chapter 4 comes off as a globe-trotting adventure that's the action equivalent of Raiders of the Lost Ark. At this point, Stahelski needs to be in the same breath as George Miller, John Woo, and John McTiernan as one of the greatest action directors of all time. What sets John Wick Chapter 4 apart from the previous films is Stahelski's willingness to let the film breathe occasionally and lean into some more dramatic moments. Indeed, there are some truly emotional, almost tear-inducing moments in this film. There's an early scene between Winston and Karan, the late Lance Reddick, that's particularly devastating in light of the fact that Reddick just did, in fact, die. Later on, there's a discussion between John and his friend Koji, wonderful turn here by Hiroyuki Sanada, about what constitutes a good life, and it was very beautiful and poignant. I mean, even John telling Winston what he wants on his tombstone in the event of his death almost had me tearing up. Really got to credit writers Shay Hatton and Michael Finch with the ability to inject some emotional resonance that 100% works in a John Wick film. It's just simply incredible. Now, from a technical standpoint, this film is flawless. As I mentioned, it is a true globe-trotting adventure, and cinematographer Dan Lawston wields the camera the same way John Wick wields a handgun, with precision and with excellence. Every shot, every vista, every moment captivates. I really don't foresee any scenario where John Wick 4 is not one of the best shot films of 2023 when time expires this December 31st. There's a scene, in fact, just before the stair section involving John cutting his way through baddies, where the camera tracks John from above in one continuous shot. It had my jaw on the floor. The sound design is also the best I've heard in years, from the opening thunderous punch by John into a wood plank. And the editing, my God, the editing. Nathan Orloff is a goddamn wizard. Just give him the Oscar right now. This is all just really honestly a roundabout way of saying this movie deserves to be seen on the biggest screen possible with the best sound system possible. You owe that to yourself. And what's astounding to me as well is how that 4 films in, Stahelski and crew are able to introduce new and intriguing characters and make us love them or hate them deeply. Scott Adkins' Killa is vile, but somehow captivating and hilarious. Koji feels like that benevolent and empathetic uncle we never had. Shamir Anderson's Mr. Nobody / The Tracker is this sleek, cool, artistic friend, the kind we wish we had in high school but never really did. Incidentally, by the way, he's the one that brings the A+ dog game in this chapter, so watch out for that. And Akira, played by Rina Sawayama, that's Koji's daughter. She is a badass with a capital B. I want to spin off with her character yesterday. Without question, though, the 2 newbies that knock this sucker into another zip code are Bill Skarsgård and Donnie Yen. Skarsgård absolutely big league chews the scenery from start to finish. He's got this clipped French accent, impeccable clothes, the slight hunch to his 6'5" frame that adds a layer of menace, the pregnant pauses that add nuance to his character. He's a dude you absolutely love to hate. Think of he's like that wealthy douchebag from high school who always treated everyone with disdain, except much more rich and powerful. And I want Skarsgård to have a very diverse and long acting career for sure. But I honestly would be perfectly content if he played bad guys for the rest of his life, if it's going to result in performances like this. But Donnie Yen, man, I mean, what a performance. In many ways, his blind warrior Kane is kind of a mirror image of John. His daughter, Kane's daughter, is his lifeline, and it's kind of his curse, too. Her very existence holds him hostage to the high table. Kane's reluctant to even go against one of his oldest friends in John, and their fights are absolutely epic. In fact, I really think from the 4 films that we've watched, he's the first character in the franchise I felt was John's equal from a fighting standpoint. The relationship, where it actually ultimately ends up, I won't ruin it, but it had me smiling from ear to ear. Kane just oozes cool. Even the way he eats pho while waiting to wipe the floor with fools is absolutely amazing. And then there's Keanu Reeves. I mean, what are you going to say at this point? He's a force of nature. John Wick is easily one of the most memorable characters in the history of cinema, bar none. Reeves allows the gun fu, the car fu, the kill shots to do the acting for him. I honestly don't know if he even has 20 lines in this entire freaking movie. But the Steve McQueen factor is very much at play here. Wick, and by extension Reeves, they don't talk a lot because they don't have to. Everything is conveyed through gestures and facial expressions. My one beef with this entire movie is that the way Reeves delivers the limited lines he does often feels a little stiff and awkward. But then again, the way he says consequences in this film carries the weight of 1,000 suns, so what the hell do I know? But bottom line is this. If you're a fan of the genre, you will absolutely love this film. Next to Die Hard and Mad Max Fury Road, it's the best action film of all time, in my opinion. Even if you're not a fan of the genre, I advise checking it out because from a cinematic and objective filmmaking perspective, it's a sight to behold. This isn't just a masterpiece for an action film. It's a masterpiece, period, and that's why I'm giving this a 10. John Wick Chapter 4 is absolutely a must-see.